Hi, I'm Sue Greenwald, and I'm with Awaken Stories and also Empowered Light Holistic Expo. I'm here today with Cheryl Davis, who's a Jedi friend of mine from our Smarty groups. Hey, Cheryl.
Hey, Sue. How are you?
Good. How are you doing?
I'm wonderful.
Cheryl and I talk quite a bit, and we've known each other for a few years. I don't actually know how long because everything is a blur for me, but we've been talking for a couple of years, and you have a great memory, Cheryl, because we had talked probably a year ago about some of my past life experiences. And then Cheryl had brought them up last night. So I thought, well, how fun would it be to do a little video and talk about that for people so that it's just something interesting, whether, it helps them or not. I don't know.
I agree.
Yeah. So what I wanted to do is talk a little bit about past lives and my theory, and then maybe you can give us your theory, Cheryl. But my theory about past lives, and I do believe that they're real, that we've come back through many, many, many times in different formats. It's not always human. We could be a tree or a rock or whatever. But I think that we come back probably most of the time as regular people, just working behind the scenes to do whatever we're doing. But I think that for someone that's famous, like, how everybody says they're Cleopatra or whoever, I think that the ones that are, serious and telling the truth, that they might have what I'd call a fractal of the Cleopatra energy, like maybe just some of the memories or some of that energy. And that's the way I've always held it in my mind. Like if I say that I'm someone famous, that may or may not mean that I'm fully them. It might mean I have a portion of their memories.
Mm-hmm.
I've been probably famous 3 or 4 times that I can remember. And there's one I don't want to talk about today, but I could tell the little stories today. How about you, Cheryl? Do you think, what's your theory about past lives? Do you think it's a 1-to-1 ratio?
1-to-1 ratio, meaning one per.
Like, let's say you're Cleopatra, Cleopatra that you think you're Cleopatra now. Do you think that's a 1-to-1 ratio or?
I never thought about it until you just brought it up to me.
Okay.
But, honestly, it's just what rings true to the person.
Yeah.
And can you take that person and do they feel close to you? Putting yourself in their position, does it feel right? Are you getting the triggers, body sensations? Is daddy telling you yes? Are you getting all the right signals? Will you possibly have some memories, vague memories, doesn't matter, just something feel a little bit more familiar to you, and maybe their behaviors of that person. And you think, wow, why is this easy for me to do? Or why does this feel very familiar?
Yeah.
So that's what I believe, but I never really sat down and thought about it. I believe that people can tap into different energies.
Right.
But I guess, honestly, my answer is whatever daddy tells me.
Right. Well, I know sometimes I'll have a vision or I'll learn something. It's a snippet of something and I don't fully understand it. I'll put it on the back burner of my mind. I might read something or have a conversation, and then the next piece comes and falls into place. And then the third or fourth piece will come in just like that. And you don't always realize what the bigger picture is sometimes. So that's the way I've determined some of these past lives. Like I'll see something and I'm not always sure what it is, but after just trial and error and chance, coincidence, synchronicity, whatever you want to call it, I might get the next piece. And you can't make it happen. It's just the way it unfolds, but being observant to the next piece is helpful.
Absolutely.
So I thought we'd start out is about, I'm going to say 8, 9, 10 years ago, I had a very vivid dream. And so just like with visions, when you have feelings and emotion and they affect you very profoundly, I believe those dreams are real. They're trying to get a message across to you. So years ago, I had this dream where I was given a whole bunch of projects I had to do. And the way I saw them was they were like in little DVD cases. And in fact, they even had the saran wrap on it. So I had my arm out and I'm getting project, like a stack, a whole giant armful of these projects, like way bigger than my arm could really hold. And so I can remember in the dream, I'd unwrap one, I'd say, oh, easy, done, easy, done, easy. Okay, working on it. Then maybe 4 or 5 projects down, I'm like, oh, shit. So that project was to go to Salem, Massachusetts. And I felt so fearful, so much reluctance about that. So that next day I called my friends. I said, I think we got to go to Salem. I had a spiritual group of friends, and most of them agreed to go. And I was always, the planner, the organizer. So I got it. You had to be there, but I went online to look up hotels and things. And I was shocked that they weren't thatched huts and mud paths. I'm not lying, that they had modern buildings and hotels in Salem, Massachusetts. It was just the weirdest vision that I had, because I saw as it probably was a couple 100 years ago or whatever. So I had such fear and reluctance to go there. I never did end up going. My daughter said she has to go as well. And I've kind of pieced together some things about that lifetime. But I guess my point here is I had so much fear, reluctance, the emotion was so strong. It wasn't like, whatever, like the other ones were. And a lot of times I would go to, like, I do retreats or I do these trips or whatever with my friends. And there was a reason beyond and above and beyond what I knew. Like, I knew that the reason us 10 or 12 people gathered was bigger than I understood at the time. And usually at the end of the week or whatever, I would understand it. So for that Salem one, I probably will have to go someday, but I haven't gone yet. So just wanted to point out that feeling, like you were saying, it's very intense.
It's very strong, and you can't deny it, and you just have to accept it.
Yeah. Yeah. And then, like me, I have to know everything in advance and all that. So, I'll work on, like, well, what did it mean? I'll try to go back into the meditation, the vision or whatever, and work on it. I'll ask my friends, so I'll try different things to unravel what that is. And another similar thing, and I probably haven't finished all those projects, by the way, but I went to England in the late 90s, probably. And I did go to the Tower of London. And honestly, I couldn't get out of there fast enough. It had a lot of heavy, dark energy there. They did a lot of nasty things there to people and all that. So I went there, but I left. And I went all around England. And when I came back, I felt like I was a changed person. I think I received some activations. But what I want to say here is I'm driving along. Oh, no, I get a vision that I have to go back to the Tower of London. And I'm like, what? I was already there. And, that wouldn't be a place I'd ever go back to. And I couldn't understand why it was so strong and all that. So my son at the time, was reading a book and something about William Wallace. And he's the Braveheart guy, right? The Mel Gibson movie.
Oh, yeah.
So my son's reading a book about William Wallace, and I go, doing, it hits me. William Wallace, when he was executed, they distributed pieces of him all around the area, and his head ended up at the Tower of London. And I don't know if you know that, but
No,
I think I was William Wallace in a previous lifetime. So again, was I fully him 100%? I don't know, but I have these memories and a fractal of that energy. So I think I have to go to the Tower of London to heal that or do something in I don't know what it is, but just interesting how these little things come apart.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
Yeah. So yesterday when we were talking, I made a list of lifetimes where we were together that I know of. And there's a lot more lifetimes than I put on my list because I was, on the phone when I was doing this. But Salem, Massachusetts, you and I were together there in some capacity. I don't know how. Tower of London or in that lifetime. Trying to remember what I wrote down. I know we were both Essenes in the time of Jesus, although we were in physically different locations. I think you might have traveled to where I was. Let's see, and we were definitely Native Americans. Again, don't know the specific lifetime there. But I had that. So, but the one we decided to talk about was I had a very strong and very scary vision where I was Leonardo DaVinci, and this is years ago. And then you told me you were Michelangelo. Yeah.
Mhm.
So can you tell me how you figured out, like what happened to lead you to believe you were Michelangelo or part of Michelangelo? Like what?
Sure. Really quick, after you mentioned those different past lives,
Yeah.
they all rang true, and I immediately got a vision.
Yeah.
And I've had visions of those past lives before.
You have. Well, we should talk about them more.
On all of them. I mean,
Really?
there's really snippets,
Yeah.
but it completely, I was without a doubt 100%. As soon as you said it, like, absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay. Actually, about the Michelangelo, I actually had a couple Jedis call me. And this was a few years ago. And I won't say their names because I didn't ask their permission. They probably want to stay in the background.
Yeah.
But they called me up as I'm driving around doing deliveries. And I took a break because they're like, we have to talk to you. And, they know I'm, driving around and working. So they're like, we have to talk to you. I'm like, okay. And they said that one of them got the message that I was Michelangelo, and she confirmed it, and then called another Jedi friend, and she confirmed it also, and had more conversation. And then they decided to do a conference call with me and called me. And I'm like, wow, are you serious? And I got it was true, and it rang true. And it's so interesting because I know I'm an artist at heart, but in this lifetime, I haven't. Years, I was actually an artist rep, and I was in training for an entire full year for representing an artist. So I was actually moving in that direction, but then Daddy changed directions on me. But it all rang true because I was actually representing these artists for their paintings, mostly paintings. Sorry, I'm getting a lot of messages here. I've put in a lot of healing requests, so the messages keep popping up, which is great. I love reinforcements. Thank you all. But it's on my phone here and it's making it vibrate. Okay, so I was actually more interested in sculptures, and they fascinate me. So I was very much into the artwork and love it. And I was living in Southern California, meeting a lot of Europeans, believe it or not. I was down in Laguna Beach, Manhattan Beach, downtown LA, all these different areas, and Culver City. It was a new upcoming area, and a little bit of Malibu. And I was starting to travel around the country representing artists, and I kept meeting more and more people. And these artists wanted to just flock to me, and I'm thinking, I'm new. I'm just a rep. But it was like this magnetism. Magnetism. I'm just gonna hold the phone. Magnetism of just, you attract it. And so anyway, I know it rang true as far as visions, memories. I can see myself as a sculptor. I feel the energy of, he was a complete workaholic, which I've had that, that's how I am in this lifetime too, where it's complete focus and dedication. And he did a lot of spiritual work, which I'm doing too. It just all rang true. And obviously I don't know everything. I haven't researched a lot. Yes, a couple days ago is just when I researched to see if he was actually even alive the same time as Da Vinci, which is why I brought it up to you, because I had a feeling and I just had a sensation, because you and I talk a lot. And I thought there is more of a connection here and I'm not getting it. And I started, to be quiet, sat with Daddy. And then I just started visualizing and things started just coming to me. And I'm like, we knew each other and I knew we were friends. And and it was very strong in that lifetime. So a lot of it has not come back to me. And I feel like I need to relearn everything as an artist. Hopefully going through the crystalline chambers, it will make it a little bit easier. But as far as what you're saying, are you completely solely, that one energy or not? I can't even answer that until after the crystalline chambers, to feel and to ask that from Daddy. But I'm very open to whatever the answer is. But I do know I can tune into that. And I have some memories and things are just too close for you to say otherwise.
Right. That makes sense. So for me with Leonardo da Vinci, I am also artistic. In high school, I like to paint, mostly draw and paint, and I like to write. So that's why I started this little blog site, because it's fun. But I won't say I'm the best artist on planet Earth, but I enjoy it. And I haven't really done it, done a lot of artwork recently, practical life kicks in. But what happened with me is I had a vision. This is maybe 6 years ago or so. And I was like, get out of town. Like, I don't want to go there. You tell somebody you're this famous person, then you're ridiculed. I don't even want to go there. It doesn't even feel like it. It's not me. And then I was talking with a friend of mine who's a theta healer, and they use a theta, like a different brainwave frequency, if you will. You go into a meditative state to get more information. So that's what I did. So I saw myself, and I had, I'm just going to say, intense fear, reluctance. I didn't want to do it. I had to be like kind of strong-armed. But I saw myself in, like, I'm going to call it like a library, and there was a hidden staircase there. And I didn't want to go down, so I surrounded myself with angels. It was a little windy, dark, nasty, stone, cement, horrible little twisted stairway that I went down. And I was underneath the Vatican. I went down there, and I had to sneak down there, and I took a right. And there were like, I'm going to call them like storage areas. And it was like an archway with, it's like a big open garage, let's call it. And there was a whole bunch of stuff in there, artifacts. And I had a canvas that I rolled up and I stuck it underneath and against the wall, like in a really nonchalant place where nobody would like notice it. And I got out of there. But I, painted that canvas, and it had information on it that would activate and awaken people in this time now, like at this exact time in history now. It wasn't for just like, oh, whenever anybody looks at it, they'll get an activation. It was for this time now. So I snuck it in there, and then I got out of there. And you and I had talked a while ago, and then we had talked again. We were doing some clearing work on the Vatican a few months ago. Mm-hmm. And what happened is I realized that the canvas, that like that area had been cleaned out, and I was told to put it back. So I just kind of did a meditation, but I tried to feel the energy, and I saw myself going back there with less fear this time and putting the canvas there. But if you read any information about Da Vinci, like he would paint over his previous canvases, I think that's what happened is he would activate somehow something in the picture, the painting. Maybe they're painted over. I don't actually know, but I know that there was more than one thing. So I did not want to do that. I didn't want to go back down there at all. I was afraid. and the feeling was so strong that I kind of felt like it was real. Yeah.
Absolutely. I remember that. I remember that.
Yeah. And I like I said, I don't want to claim that I'm, someone famous or whatever. I'm not trying to do that for that reason, but I feel like he was part of a spiritual group. They were trying to save a spiritual and sacred artifacts and knowledge. And so he and several people would save artifacts, and they would hide them, and they would meet in secret. They were the good guys. You know what I'm saying? They knew that things were not what they were supposed to be, but they had to be very careful for their lives. And probably being, like we'll call them famous artists, would get us into places that we might not have access to if we weren't famous,
Absolutely.
just a guess. Yeah. Anything else I might have forgotten? I know I told you all the details a couple times.
No, it's just I've never been in the Vatican in this lifetime.
Yeah.
And any of the chapels, 16th Chapel or any of the other ones around there, but I do know I've been there. It's very, very familiar. Yeah. I know I've been there with you. Everything that you're just saying now, it makes it rings true, and it feels 100% right. Yeah. I step back if something feels off, or if I'm unsure, but I'm feeling 100% confidence now on everything that you're saying. Yeah. And like I said, when I first had this vision, I tried to blow it off. I was like, what? And I didn't want to go there. I didn't want to go down there. That's why I had the angels accompany me. I had a lot of fear. And I don't remember what the other artifacts are, but as you know, there's tons and tons and tons of artifacts throughout history that have been squirreled away under the Vatican, sacred knowledge, all sorts of stuff. So it makes kind of sense, doesn't it? That it was there. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And in another life, I was working with the Library of Alexandria. I kind of put it together, and I'm kind of I am a book person. I love reading. I love writing. So in that vision, I saw it almost like a cartoon. I was way back in a kind of a pyramid. So that showed me where I was, but I was filing, like in a filing cabinet. And then I knew the bad guys were after me. So I was running like Speedy Gonzalez so fast, I was almost sideways on the wall, zipping around, getting out. And I snuck out like the back before they could come for me. And I hidden like a wagon or something to get out of town, because they were coming to kill me and take the stuff. So that, yeah. So, sacred knowledge, they took all of that information that, we had compiled. So now tell me a little bit about the Salem, Massachusetts lifetime. So I have a theory about that lifetime. I don't clearly see it, but here's what I think happened as far as I'm concerned. We were probably like natural healer type people, regular people. And I believe that my daughter got captured, and I think she was hung. And I knew she was innocent. And I don't know what relationship we had at that point, but I was in the crowd filled with guilt because I knew she wasn't guilty, and I should have stepped up, but I was afraid to. And I think that a few days later, they came for me. So I don't know exactly what I did or whatever, but I think it was a hanging and not a fire. That's the way I'm seeing it. Do you have any feel about that? I'm getting a yes on your daughter.
Yeah.
I'm getting a yes for you.
Yeah.
I think I was burned to death. And I'm, as you say, the hanging, that's why I'm asking myself right now, was it a hanging or was it, I know I was burned to death, and I think of, the Salem witch trials, and I'm pretty confident I was burned to death in that lifetime. Yeah. Yeah. It rings true. And I've had visions of that, so profound that I thought it was real recent, but it wasn't. Yeah, it wasn't. It was just, it just rang so true.
Right.
I just remembered it so strongly.
Yeah.
But I definitely remember the hangings and the feelings, and
Yeah.
yeah, it was a whole big grouping,
Being,
that happened at once.
yeah, being torn away from families. I can remember like my hands were like this and I was being pulled away and crying and stuff. But for me, when I went to make those online reservations a few years ago, I was shocked. I expected mud paths and thatched roofs, like not a modern city. That's how shocked I was. And also, if and when I do go there, I'll be going with somebody, like people that will support me, because I still have a lot of fear about it. Probably a little less fear than I had a few years ago, though. Thankfully.
Well, probably because there's a lot of areas that it's been cleaned out,
Yeah.
vibrationally, a lot of the
Yeah.
energies have been cleared out.
Yeah.
But that's understandable. But you'd want to go with support to just help you.
Clear and clean it. And then you said something about the Tower of London one with the William Wallace lifetime. So you felt like that rang true for you as well?
Absolutely. Braveheart is my favorite movie.
Is it really?
I've seen it, and I haven't seen. Yeah, I haven't seen as many movies as most people. I just haven't, and I watch them now when I can, but I just haven't. And it's always been my movie, and just always standing up, fight. And I mean, to the core, I love it. I think I had that as my password at one point.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So when you said that, I knew for sure instantly that you were William Wallace. I just felt that instantly. And I believe I was in your group. I was one of the people with you fighting.
Right.
So that just completely rings true. And whenever I've seen that over and over, I feel it. I feel the energy, and I feel the strength from that. So it's
interesting,
again,
isn't it?
It's very interesting.
Yeah.
Like I have no doubt that I was in your group.
Okay. That makes sense.
No doubt.
I'll work on this a little bit after we, hang up from this call. But like I said, I had a vision that I have to go back to the Tower of London, and it's to do a healing. So whether it's to heal me or the Tower of London, I don't know. I was like, at that time, I was like, oh, here we go again. And oftentimes I'm called to go a place and I don't know why, but then it reveals itself afterwards, which is so fun. And then, like I said, my son was reading the book, and I'm like, boing, it just hits me like, oh my God, I was William Wallace and his head was there. That's why I've got to go. So that was like the second piece. And then I kind of forgot about it. And then I was driving maybe 2 years ago, and it came to me again, like boing. And so I was at a stoplight. I texted a friend and said, please confirm this. And they did. And I just wanted to know, because again, I'm not like, I'll probably go and just do a 1 hour thing there. I don't know if I can do it remotely, but it's not a place I really want to go back to. So,
I don't blame you. I don't blame you.
But I like to joke because my personality is fairly rebellious, but my poor parents, but it's just, I'm stubborn. And when I believe in something, I'm going to do it no matter what, until you can change my belief, and it's just the way I am.
That's great.
Yeah. So I have only about a jillion more past lives to talk about. So the Library of Alexandria, the vision I had, I was alone at this point, but obviously there were people that helped. There were people that knew the bad guys were coming, so they assisted me. And it's just interesting that I was trying to preserve the sacred and spiritual information, and it was taken away, Yeah. So
that's amazing.
Yeah. So I thought we would just talk a little bit about past lives, and we've touched upon like 3 or 4. Maybe we could do another video of more past lives. And I also wanted to talk with you another time about angel savings that you've had.
Okay,
Because
that's
I had a
wonderful.
bunch too. Of course, I didn't make my list, so I can't remember a single one, but we will talk again. All right.
Okay,
Thanks
sounds
so
great,
much, Cheryl.
Sue.
Now, I
Thank
know you
you.
just started a YouTube channel. How do people get in touch with you?
It's easiest to get in touch with me through Source TV. They have Cheryl Davis on there. There's a
Okay.
lot of Cheryl Davises
There
when you
is,
just do
yeah.
a search.
Yeah.
So if you just go through Source TV, I'm listed on there. So
Oh, okay.
I was just guided to start that. So I have a couple videos up. It's to help others now, but I think it's where I'm headed in the future.
Okay. Okay. Well, and that's why with my website, which is awakenstories.com, and I've got all the social media, Telegram, YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook now. Oh my God, it's like you have to be a mastermind anymore. I felt that these little stories and my experiences would be fun for people to read. And I'm noticing that so many of them have had similar experiences. So this kind of anchors it in that, oh, that was real. So it's awakenstories.com. So
I'm loving your stories, by the way.
Thanks so much.
They're helping me so much.
Awesome. I've got
Yeah.
a lot more, but I'm having so much fun doing it. You can't even believe. I'm actually surprised because I was told to do it a year ago and I wasn't inspired. Then the inspiration hit. And that's when you got to do stuff.
Right.
So.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, thanks so much, Cheryl. I'll talk to you soon.
Okay. Sounds good.
All right.
Thanks, Sue.
All right.
Okay.
Bye-bye.